U.S. President Donald Trump's Iran war gambit ended up in the virtual closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which accounted for 20% of global oil and gas trade. Now, with Iran dictating the terms on Hormuz, a frustrated Donald Trump seemingly used the Panama card to deflect attention. That's right. Speaking at the opening of the Roosevelt Library, Trump criticized former U.S. President Jimmy Carter's decision to sign a treaty giving up America's control of the Panama Canal to the Panama's government. He's also accused China of trying to take over this strategic waterway. Listen in.
They raised the prices for the ships by 4 times, and they didn't lose one ship. And then they raised it again twice, and they didn't lose one ship. All they did is make tremendous amounts of money for years and years. How stupid was that? And now China is trying to take over the Panama Canal, and we're not going to let that happen, okay?
The 51-mile-long Panama Canal is a critical global maritime passageway as it connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It caters to close to 6% of the global trade. In 2025, over 13,400 vessels transited this very canal. While the U.S. controlled this canal since the beginning of the 20th century, its tensions with Panama grew over the years over the issue. In 1964, a riot broke out when the locals demanded the right to fly Panama's flag in this particular zone. After years of deliberations, Jimmy Carter signed 2 treaties in 1977. While the first treaty allowed U.S. to use its military to defend the Panama Canal against any threat, the second one paved the way for transferring its control to the Panama government in 1999. And since then, the Panama Canal Authority, which is a government agency that operates and manages this canal, contrary to Trump's assertion, remember, China has no direct stakes here. However, Panama Ports Company, which is a subsidiary of Hong Kong-based C.K. Hutchison, operated 2 ports of Balboa and Cristobal. In 2025, it tried to sell these very ports to a group led by U.S. firm BlackRock. But this deal was halted, reportedly due to pressure from the Chinese government. In February this year, then, the Panama government took over these ports after the country's Supreme Court ruled that Panama Ports Company had no legal basis to operate these ports located at the Pacific and Atlantic entrances to the Panama Canal. In fact, this canal is of special significance to America's economy. Let's tell you how. It's because it accounts for 40% of U.S. container traffic, which essentially amounts to $270 billion annually. And most importantly, it reduces the time and cost of shipping for America as it allows vessels to bypass the lengthy trip around the southernmost tip of South America. Recently, U.S. Naval Chief Darrell Caudle also made it clear that America sees the U.S. as a national security priority.
National security challenge for us to make sure that that can be done with our current relationship with Panama without a third party like China or anyone else who could actually influence that flow of commerce and naval combat power.
Amid this, America is desperately trying to convince Iran to drop its demand to charge tolls on vessels passing through Hormuz. With Iran refusing to buckle down under pressure, Donald Trump's dilemma is growing as the Hormuz impasse led to a devastating impact on global economy. In this scenario, Trump breaking up the Panama Canal is being perceived as yet another diversionary tactic on part of the U.S. president.